Coffee. Coffee is probably one of the things that you will enjoy and you will love if you visit Italy. So it's just so good. So my name is Marco. First of all, I want to welcome you to the German Pro community, a place where we focus on ideas and tools to hopefully inspire a new generation of world leaders, probably just like yourself. So today we are going to talk about 8 things that you need to know before doing business in Italy, especially if you are an entrepreneur. Now let me say this, I'm Italian and I'm the co-founder of German Pro with Charles, the other guy that you see on the channel if you follow us. And German Pro is not an Italian company, it's an American company, but we have done a lot of business here in Italy, from negotiating deals with multinationals, or negotiating deals with small medium companies, or simply trying to understand how do you start a business in Italy. Because let me tell you, it's not that straightforward, and we're going to talk about how to start a business in this video too. So let's get started and let's talk about the first thing that you need to know. Let's talk about the language. Now, Italy has a population of 70 million people, and the English speakers are approximately 17 million people. Now you need to understand that the majority of people in Italy don't speak English, they speak Italian. So if you're doing business in Italy and you're trying to start a business, first of all, make sure that you have an Italian partner who speaks English, or at least have the basic knowledge of Italian, so you'll be able to communicate with people. Okay, so don't expect that you come to Italy and people are gonna speak English. You're gonna find people who can speak English, but the majority of people just can't speak English, or they don't speak English very well. So just be aware of that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the key differences between the northern Italy and the southern Italy. Now, the northern Italy is known as being very modern, very industrial, very prosperous. The southern Italy is known as being very traditional, agriculture, church-oriented, church-guided, and family-oriented. Family, it's a big thing in the south, and it's a wonderful thing, especially during Christmas or national holidays. People gather together, they have dinner with everybody. It's a wonderful experience. So the northern Italy, instead, it's a little bit more industrial. Okay, you find cities like Milan or Turin. You need to understand that the reason why I'm saying that the northern Italy is more industrial is because if we look at the data, we see that in 2007, let's talk a little bit about the GDP, because you get an idea of the differences between the north and the south, and where, if you're doing business in Italy, you should start your business, or where you need to go to negotiate, to build key relationships with people. So in 2017, the GDP of Milan, okay, just Milan, was $493 billion. The GDP of Lombardy, which is the region where you find cities like Milan and Turin, was approximately $800 billion. Now, to put it in context, Milan, the city of Milan, is richer than the states of Massachusetts. The region, Lombardy, is wealthier than Switzerland, which is known as being the 20th biggest economy in the world. So just think about what I'm just saying. It's unbelievable. So people are doing some really good things. People are moving around. People are doing business transactions. So it's a wonderful place for you to go and start a business or or for you to go to build some key relationships with people. Now, Milan generates 10% of the national GDP, and it's home to about 10% of all businesses in Italy, including 3 Fortune 500 companies, which is really interesting. Now, Lombardy, the region, generates 22% of the national GDP. 22%. So it's this is why I'm saying it's more industrial. It's more prosperous than the south of Italy. Okay. Now, if you want to visit some wonderful locations, then you gotta go to the south. Because in the south you have, you got wine, you got agriculture. It's a wonderful place for you to go on vacation. In my personal opinion, and I'm Italian, if you need to compare the beauty of the north and the south is way better. Okay, you got place like Sicily. I mean, Sicily, it's just a wonderful place for you to go. It's nicer than Milan if you wanna go on vacation. However, Milan is more industrial, and for me it's a better place to start a business or to meet some people where you can negotiate business deals. Now that you know the differences between the northern Italy and the southern Italy, let's talk about building relationships. Because you see, in Italy, especially in Italy, it's really all about who you know. You need to understand the culture so that you are able to build rapport with people, because it's all about building rapport. Italians, they love to build a relationship with you. So let's talk about something that Italians, they just love. They love face-to-face contact. It's very typical that if you're trying to negotiate a deal with a business, the first meeting, it's all about, they want to know, who are you? Are you a trustworthy and honest person? It's all about building rapport. Honesty and trust is essential. So the first meeting is not about taking any kind of business actions. It's all about building rapport with each other. So for example, let me give an example. I remember that when we were based in Rome, Italy, I remember that once we went to this company because we were trying to negotiate a business deal. And Charles is African American. Charles was like, man, we're gonna go there, make it happen, boom, done. And I was like, man, it doesn't work like that. It's the decision-making process is slow. It's all about building a relationship with them. It's all about building rapport with them. So don't expect that we go there and we talk about business. Don't expect that we go there and we take any kind of business actions. We gotta go there, and they need to understand, first of all, before we make any kind of business transaction, they need to understand that we are trustworthy and that we are honest people. So this leads me to my next point. Again, I really want to stress this point because it's critical that you understand the power of building a relationship with people if you're trying to do business in Italy. Again, it's all about trust and honesty. Now the question is, how do you build rapport with people? Well, first of all, you need to appreciate the culture. If you don't appreciate the culture, you won't be able to build rapport with people. So first of all, appreciate the culture. And how do you do it? You need to understand that Italians are really proud about wine, art, architecture, food, especially food. So if you're trying to build rapport with people, the best way to do it is to give them a compliment and try to justify your compliment. For example, I could say, I'm meeting somebody for the first time, and I could say, you know what? I just like your wine. I just like the Italian wine. I'm giving them a compliment, and now to make that compliment effective, I need to justify that compliment. So for example, I could say, and try to notice the difference. I could say, you know, Mr. blah blah blah, Mr. Marco, your wine, the Italian wine, is just amazing. It's delicious. And the reason I say that is because, justification, and the reason I say that is because last week I went to Tuscany and we had this wine tasting, and oh my God, it was mind-boggling. It was just unbelievable. The view, the scenario was just breathtaking. Your wine, the Italian wine, is just amazing. There's one way in which you can build rapport, a very easy way that you can apply today. Or you can ask them a question, an indirect question to build rapport. You could say, let me ask a question, Mr. Marco. What makes Italian wine so good? What makes your Italian wine, what makes your wine so good? How is it possible that it's so good? And they're gonna be like, well, first of all, because we have this, we have that, and we have this, and we produce wine there, and we do this, and blah, blah. And they're gonna feel proud. In their minds, probably subconsciously, they're gonna like, I don't like this guy. This guy seems that he's really curious about the Italian culture. I like him, okay? So this is, it's a very simple way in which you can build rapport with people. Give them a compliment, justify your compliment, or ask them a question, okay? So let's move on and let's talk about the decision-making power. As I said before, the decision-making process is slow, is very slow. There is a lot of bureaucracy, and it's a big problem, unfortunately. So don't expect that things are gonna happen immediately. It's gonna be slow. So just behave accordingly, okay? There is nothing that we can do, okay? Let's talk about body language, which is critical, especially in the Italian culture. Now, when you meet somebody for the first time, it's important that you pay attention to eye contact. You gotta look people in the eyes. I mean, don't stare people, okay? Don't stare, you're gonna look creepy. Just make eye contact, because eye contact, especially in the South, makes people understand that they can trust you. Again, we're going back to trust and honesty. Eye contact, I can trust you. You don't look at me. You don't look me in the eyes. I don't know about this guy. I don't think I can trust this guy. Okay. Now, something quite funny. Don't be surprised when people talk to you if they stand close to you and they talk to you. Don't be surprised about that. Okay. It can happen that when you talk to somebody, especially in Italian, they stand really close to you when they're talking. Don't be surprised about that. We love to hug people, okay? We love to touch people, and it's just in the culture. Then let's talk about the dress code. Now, dressing is fashion. Let's talk about fashion. Now, fashion, Milan. We could say that Milan is the capital of fashion. Is the fashion capital, and dressing professionally is a reflection of social status, professionality, and success. Dressing professionally conveys that this guy is a professional. This guy knows what he's doing. And let me tell you, I don't personally agree, because I don't like going to work with a suit. I like to go to work with, I don't know, just jeans and just a t-shirt. But it will never happen that you go into a meeting, you find somebody with a t-shirt and shorts. It's not gonna happen, especially if you work in a multinational. So dress professional when you come to Italy. Just wear something nice, because people are gonna look at you and they're gonna be like, man, this guy is a professional. Remember, perception drives reality. So I don't personally agree with that. However, if I do business in Italy, I'm gonna dress professionally. Now, let's talk about the last thing that I would like to share with you, which is how do you start a business in Italy? You see, starting a business is quite complicated. Now, let me say it's hard to start a business in Italy, especially because let's try to compare starting a business in the USA and starting a business in Italy. Now, starting a business in the USA and registering a company in Delaware is going to cost you more or less $300. Let's talk a little bit about money, because that's what matters when you start a business, especially in Italy. So if you start a business in the USA, in Delaware, it's going to cost you more or less $300. But let me tell you, if you start a business in Italy, and I have some personal experience with that, you have just think about it. The registration cost of starting a business is $300. And then you have some fixed cost. And the fixed cost, you need to pay the accountant, which is called the commercialista, is in charge of taxes, okay? And then you need to pay what's called INPS, which is, I'm not gonna explain what it is, it's just too complicated. But let's focus on how much it's gonna cost you to start a business in Italy. So you have the registration cost, which is $300, and then you have some fixed cost, which is approximately $5,000. Just think about it. If you're starting a business in Italy, okay, and you have the chance probably to have some advantages if you're young, if you're just starting a business, if you make no more than 30,000 in gross profit per year, 30,000, you're gonna pay $300 for the registration and $5,000 per year. So you're starting with a debt on your shoulders. So whatever you do, even though let's say that you don't make any money, then you need to pay $5,000 to the state, because if you don't do that, the bad things are gonna happen to you. So this is the problem of starting a business in Italy. Okay, you can start a business in the USA for $300. On the contrary, to start a business in Italy is gonna cost you more than $5,000. So these are, in my personal opinion, the most important things that you need to know before doing business in Italy. So if you liked the video, please subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Leave a comment if you have any questions, if I can help you. Hit the little bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And thank you so much for staying with me. I'll see you soon. Bye.